Hello, my name is Rob Newman and I'm a partner in Carter Collins & Meyer. Thank you for taking the time to watch this short video. Today I want to talk about valuing your company. Now, when this is being filmed, it's just after Christmas in 2026, and over that Christmas period, lots and lots of people contact me saying, "What's the value of my business?" In fact, one of the reasons they contact me is I actually put on my LinkedIn profile, which I hang out quite a lot, is I value companies. But the value of your company fundamentally is what someone else will pay you for it. And people don't want to hear that. People contact me thinking there should be some science or some formula to it. And there is in certain circumstances. In some circumstances, there is a scientific way of doing it. Because one of the things that I do is I'm a forensic accountant. Now that sounds really exciting. What it actually means is we come down out of the hills after the battle is fought and stab the wounded. We look at things retrospectively, backwards, and that's not what the real value of a company is. When I undertake a company valuation for forensic accounting purposes, it's to consider its economic value within a dispute. The typical ones are HMRC, share reorganisations, divorces, splits of partnerships, and people falling out with each other, or merging companies together. Because no real cash has exchanged hands in those kind of circumstances. No actual value has moved, but people have a thing that is there and that they know has a goodwill value to it. So they bring in someone like myself to come up with the scientific way of valuing companies, which 3 years of expensive accountancy education boils down to 3 times profits. Roughly, small businesses are valued on that basis. Take your profit and loss account, add on to it the stuff that you are choosing to spend and take out of the company, remove from it the cost of replacing you if we had to go out and hire an employee, and then multiply that by 3. That's on average very acceptable. And the 20-page report that I will charge you to write up a company valuation will prove that's why that's the right thing to do. And you're also paying then to be able to put that into a court situation in front of a judge and to have me turn up and argue as to why that's the right valuation and approach for your company. But it doesn't answer why most people want companies valued. Most people who contact me at this time in January want a valuation because they're sick of their company. They're sick of their business. They're fed up with it. They've had a couple of weeks off, and the thought of going through another whole process is, do I really have to? Surely there's a better way to run things. Well, there is and there isn't. And some of that will be covered in other videos that I'm going to do, and some of it I will talk of today. But the value of the business is not what you then think it is. The value is not a big theoretical report that's going to be used for something. And a lot of the times I talk to the people that contact me in those situations. I say, please don't give me money. Don't spend anything with me because you're wasting your time. You're going to get a 25-page report that actually is meaningless. The real value of it, just like your house, or your car or other tradable assets, is what someone else will pay. And if you're thinking of selling your business, you're as well off to go on businessesforsale.com and have a look at what other people are looking to get for their types of companies. And on average, I can tell you, it will end up being around that 3 times profit, plus or minus net assets, if it's saleable. Because that's the other big circumstance and situation in most small businesses. They're not actually saleable. They're a job. They're a job that someone is stuck in, and you can't actually pass it on. Because even if you take my theoretical approach of taking the profit and loss account, adding back the stuff to it that you choose to spend, and then knocking off the cost of finding an employee that does your job, you often find there's no profit left. If you had to go out and hire somebody that did what you did, it removes all the value from the business. And even if there is a value for it, it probably isn't going to be very much. And that's assuming you can find somebody that actually can do it what you do, which in most small businesses they can't. Because most small businesses don't write down what it is that they do and don't have a structure. And that's not wrong. I want to make that clear. It's not wrong that they don't do that. My own firm, my own business is a small business, and it's in very much a lifestyle business. I love what I do. I have a couple of business partners and we have a small team. We all love what we do, but we're not a corporate. We don't have structures for everything. We don't have systems for everything. A lot of it lives in our own head. A lot of it is there. And I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy running like that. And most small businesses are. But what you have to then know is it's not saleable. It can't be passed on. It has no economic value to anybody other than you. And that's what catches most people. A lot think that their small business is their retirement fund. There's a chap I've spoken to many times who runs a small engineering business in Sheffield. It makes about £80,000 a year profit. His salary that goes through the P&L is zero. The cost of finding an engineer that knows and does what he does is probably £80,000. So there's no real economic value to this business. But this chap is still operating machines in his 80s. He's in his 80s operating the machines. He loves it. Fantastic. But he thinks he should get £1 million for that company. Why? Because that's what he needs to retire, he says. But there's nobody going to pay him £1 million for that company because it's a job. It's a great job. He loves it. He comes and goes as he pleases, just as I do on my own company. And I wouldn't swap my own business for anything, just as he wouldn't, other than for that £1 million. But it doesn't have that value within it. So if you're thinking of valuing your company for sale, one of the first things you have to consider is it actually saleable? Can anybody else actually pick this up and run with it? Is it something that's based entirely on a skill set that only you have? There are people out there that have skill sets that are rare and unique for whatever reason. It's just a rare and unique thing, or perhaps their world moved on and there's not many people left who still know how to do what they do. I have a number of IT contractors in that circumstance. They work for big banks, still working on software systems that were written in the 1950s and 60s. Nobody else knows how to operate these things anymore. But the companies make nice profits, but it doesn't mean it's saleable because it's based on a skill that no one else has. Saleable businesses are repeatable. Saleable businesses are structured, organized, and anybody can step into them. And again, as I've said in previous videos, one of the best things to ever look at this is the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and I'm not on any commission with Michael Gerber or the E-Myth organization, but they say you should treat your business as if it is going to become a franchise. Because the thing of a franchise is, it is a repeatable, structured, set organization. If you go and buy a McDonald's franchise, you literally get packs of books. You literally get books that tell you this is how we do stuff here. This is how we run things. This is how we organize ourselves. You don't get a shiny restaurant. The books tell you how to turn it into a shiny restaurant and where to go and get that type of thing. And if you are looking to create a business that is saleable, you have to essentially do that within your own thing. You have to treat it as if it is going to become a franchise, because then it becomes repeatable, which then influences and changes the type of business you may well go into. Because skill-based businesses are often in people's individual heads. My own accountancy practice is very much based on the knowledge and learnings that I have as an individual. It's not something that necessarily can be repeated easily. You might come spend a number of years with me and develop and grow your own skill set, but it's not something that you can just go off the shelf and buy. Whereas a business that moves boxes is based around a product, is based around a thing that is readily transferable, is a very different proposition. I had some tremendous success with plumbers merchants in the early 2000s. Plumbers merchants starting up, growing, developing, and then selling out to national chains. Because that's a type of business that takes a repeatable product that can be relatively quickly learned and processed and sold on. So if you're facing this new year thinking, what's the value of my business? That's not the place to start. The place to start is anybody else able to do what I do? And has anybody else got an interest in what I do? If they have, you may then well have something that's saleable. But certainly don't believe that it's going to be massive value to it. Because on the whole, as I say, take that profit, add back the costs that you are, knock off the cost of replacing you and multiply that up by 3. And it's probably not what you think it is. Now, if you do have a dispute, or you do have an HMRC situation, or a change in share ownership, or a restructuring or something else, I'd love to write that report for you, and I'd love to provide the forensic accounting service that supports the transaction that you're doing. If you're thinking of selling, I can happily direct you with regards to the right people. I don't do business brokerage anymore, although I have done in the past. If you're thinking of exiting the business, you may well want to consider other sorts of things. If it's a plan for the future, let's look at building a financial plan together. That may well include things like pensions and life insurances. And if I can help in any other way, I'd be delighted to, because my name is Rob Newman and I am a partner at Carter Collins and Meyer, accountants in Rochdale, Greater Manchester.